Chuck E. Chan.
Here comes Chuck E. Chan.
Martial arts expert of reptile land.
We are back reacting to more of these unhinged comments on this video. This is why men are no longer approaching women. And in part one, we react to Rob, who approached a woman 8 years ago, got rejected, and gave up on dating entirely. And Gabriel, who says there is a 0% chance of having a great conversation with any woman, that there is a 15% chance if you approach a woman that you will be publicly humiliated, and a 4% chance that you'll get arrested or a false accusation. These numbers are absurd. The fact that this guy cared enough to make up these delusional fantasy numbers shows this guy is very butthurt, that he is completely dateless, and he decides to hate women when really he should probably be hating himself, or at the very least reflecting on himself, see what he's doing wrong, see why he's so unapproachable, why any approaches he may have done are wildly creepy and absurd. But I think a lot of these guys, they seek out these sort of incel communities, or they stumble upon these incel communities where people spread this kind of rhetoric and then they just believe it to be true. Because imagine how pathetic and weak you have to be to, like Rob, have approached one woman once 8 years ago and then wrote it off for the rest of your entire life. Like, you have no experience with it then. You've already given up before you've even tried or even really thought about trying in a meaningful way. You have just accepted delusion that bad people have spread onto you. So, we'll continue on. So, Crypto Keeper comments, I worked as a bartender for many years, and one thing I noticed, both males and females, was that the person hitting on them was creepy or cringy only if they were unattractive. If the person was hot, suddenly it was okay. Alright, that's kind of a fair statement, but the important part is creepy or cringy. So you can, if you're hot, you can be more aggressive in your approaches, you can be more creepy and cringy. Okay, then just don't be creepy and cringy if you're unattractive. If you're just full of riz and life and energy and making a woman laugh, then it's going to go well. You're likely to have a good outcome. You just can't be unattractive and then also creepy and cringy. Just don't be those things. That's why you have to learn how to communicate with women, talk to them, approach them in a non-creepy, non-cringy way. And yeah, maybe you have to learn that through experience, but just don't be insanely creepy or cringy. Get rejected and move right along. If you're getting rejected, first of all, you should be asking for the number or whatever immediately. Like, in under a minute. There should be, oh, hi, I'm so-and-so. Oh, do you go to college here? Oh, your eyes are so beautiful. Hey, can I get your number? If you get declined, move on. Right? What makes it creepy is you lingering around, not taking no for an answer, being weird as shit. No, how asking women out is you move on. Because the one thing that Gabriel up here said was right. 80% chance of getting rejected. Guaranteed. 80%. That's actually accurate. 80%. So you're going to get rejected tons of times. It's fine. Don't let it matter to you. It shouldn't matter. Why would it matter? It doesn't matter. Any guys who get women, it's completely meaningless. I can ask 10 women out in a row and get rejected every time. It's freaking meaningless to me. Alright, then that woman's not for me. That woman doesn't find me attractive. That woman, whatever, maybe she's taken. Half of the women you ask out are going to be already in a relationship. They're already going to be not available to anyone, no matter what. So rejection it's not a certainty, but there's certainly a high chance of it. That doesn't mean you just give up. What if you ask out 10 women and by chance, by random chance, those 10 women you asked out all happen to be not available? Let's say 8 of them are in relationships. One of them's a lesbian, and one of them isn't into guys with beards and you have a beard. only likes guys with tattoos and you don't have tattoos, or doesn't like guys with tattoos and you have tattoos, right? Like, there's so many things that are just absolute deal breakers. So if you are so hung up on rejection, you're gonna have no dating life ever in your life. You have to get over that. You absolutely have to get over that and learn how to do it. You have to put yourself out there. You have to try. Why would you ever be good at anything in life that you haven't even tried? Like, who out there hasn't done something in their life more than once? You get good at things by doing them repeatedly. That's how, like, working any job works, building any skill. The biggest hobby in the world is video games. Are you telling me that the very first time that you put a video game into your console and played it, that you were as good as the 100th time you played that game? No. I guarantee you the 100th time you were far better than the first time. So that doesn't, at no point in life is there any part of life where that rule doesn't apply, where you don't just get better at things as time goes on and with experience. Jeez. Like, oh my goodness. How do I have to explain this to adults? Right? Like, think about that. That comment right there, which that comment was kind of fair, right? But these other comments are these insane ones have 1,100 likes of approaching a woman once and giving up on it forever. 1,100 people like this comment. 500 people like this comment saying there's a 0% chance to have a good conversation with any woman you ever approach. That's insane. That's 10 levels of insane. We'll continue. So Dr. Doom says, last time I offered to buy a woman a drink in a bar, she actually said, "Oh, please get lost, creep." Then she turned to her friends and started laughing. I walked away thinking, what the? She was like a 6 out of 10 at most. After that, I decided to never approach women ever again. It's not worth the hassle. On the bright side, the bartender felt sorry for me and I got free drinks the rest of the night. Why did you never approach a woman ever again? The 700 people like this comment as if it makes any sense. First of all, the woman's there with her friends. Oftentimes, what the woman in the video that these comments are on doesn't understand is that women are far less approachable when they're in a group of women. Oftentimes, they're not even looking to get asked out. That's the thing, is you'll have groups of women who are like this, who are very standoffish. There's times where you're in the bar, and especially if it's like there's kind of like not many people in the bar and there's sort of two separate groups. A group of guys, group of women. It's reasonable. All right, we send a guy over, see if those women want to hang out with us. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes the women, they want to hang out amongst themselves. And think about it. Why might that be? Maybe they're literally all in relationships. What if that was the case? There's about 50% of women just outright are going to already be in a relationship. 50%. There's a 50-50 shot that woman was just taken. She was taken. She's hanging out with her women, group of women in the bar. I don't think it specifies that she was with a group of women in the bar, but like, she's probably there with friends. 50-50 shot she's taken, and you let this one rejection make it so you never approach another woman. Okay, like how do 700 people hit like on this comment? How do so many people think about that. Think about how much of a desperate freak show creep loser you have to be to watch this video, fully blame women to the point that you have to go in the comments and you have to write a comment about how women are completely unapproachable. Think about how lost in the sauce you have to genuinely be. Like, the only reason I looked at the comments is because I knew they'd be insane. And I wanted to react to them. I wanted to reply to someone. I typed out a reply to this Rob guy because I felt horrible for him. I'm like, really? You approached one woman 8 years ago and then never again? That is like one of the saddest, most pathetic, most unmanly things I've ever heard in my damn life. And then I thought about it more, and I'm like, I gotta make a video about this because this is too lost in the sauce. And I saw that it had 1,100 likes, and I'm like, there are so many other people lost in the sauce, and they're justifying it to themselves and to each other through reading comments like this, liking comments like this, watching videos like this, liking videos like this. And I liked the video. You can see that I liked the video because I do fundamentally like it. I like that she points out to this woman that, hey, maybe it's not 100% men's fault. Women have made themselves less approachable, and that's true, but that doesn't mean men should, it's at all logical for men to just completely give up on women. I guarantee you, if this woman, which I've watched a lot of her shorts, if she read these comments, she would disagree with them completely. She would disagree with this idea that if a man approaches a woman, there is a 0% chance of a great conversation. That's crazy. To say, oh, you got rejected once 8 years ago, you should never approach a woman again in your life. She would say, that's crazy. Maybe learn how to approach women, or like approach women in a different sort of way, a different context. So I think this is important. I think ripping people away from their delusion, their excuses, their pathetic lives is good for them, because that's what they want. That's absolutely what they want. These guys who are here complaining, refusing to take control of their lives even a little bit, spreading their bizarre excuse onto women, their blame onto women. It's just creating a bigger atmosphere of this blame game. They're getting more members on their team for the blame game instead of the accountability game, instead of the being a man game, instead of the being a functional adult game that they should be playing. They should be playing the game of, how do I get women? That should be the game you're freaking playing. Right? Like, you care enough to be complaining about approaching women on this YouTube video. You've gotten this far. This is how much it bugs you. You had to comment and tell your weirdo stories. You had to, right? Because you're lonely and you're dateless and you wish it was different. The only way it changes is with you. And not just you individually, but you as a collective. You who typed the comment and all the 700 freaks who hit like on it. Y'all can work together. That's how men get good at getting women, is they learn from other men. Right? In part one of this, I said there was a summer where I asked out 300 women in a month. It wasn't even difficult. It was fun. I had a blast. I had a bunch of great conversations. Because sometimes you ask a woman out. Most times, right? Say you ask a woman out and you get her number or whatever. Most times, you're going to be busy doing something, right? It could be you're in a grocery store, you're at an event. You don't want it to take up all of your time, and you don't want to take up all of their time. But certain times, you ask a woman out, and it leads to a more lengthy conversation, right? Like, she wants to talk right then and there, because maybe she's not in a hurry. She's got some time before it's on to the next thing. So I've had that plenty of times where, all right, like, I got your number, I want to dip, is what's going through my head. But it's like, all right, well, I guess I got to rizz up this chick some more or get to know her. And it leads to a great conversation. Right then and there, on the spot. It's not, maybe like 1 out of 10 times that happens when you get a number, but it certainly happens. And in the context of like talking to a woman in the bar, typically how you pick up a woman from a bar, get her number or whatever, because you're both in the same place for a while, is you talk to the woman and it leads to a great conversation, which then leads to you getting a number. Or, going from the bar to one of your places. That's how it works. Um, so I would actually recommend, if you're struggling with this, don't bother with bars. Don't bother with it. If you're not a Rizzlord, you don't have to ask women out in bars. Ask them out at the grocery store. Ask them out wherever else. Some random festival that's going on. And I don't mean like a music festival. Like, I'm saying avoid the bar because they're going to be there with a group. There's going to be loud music. So when I say festival, I mean like goofy little events that your town has. Or your city has. Like places where people are conversing and meeting people and getting to know each other. They exist. They aren't as big as they were 60 years ago, right? Like your grandpa had a little bit of a different situation. He had to go out and go to all these social events and would meet women. But you actually have the luxury. It's actually easier for you today because those events, they don't exist in the form of events, but they exist in the form of social media and dating apps. You can meet tons of women all the time. And you don't even you can literally be hanging out. This sounds gross, but in theory you could be spending time with a woman and also rizzing up multiple other women because you're doing it on your phone. Right? Like I'm not saying you should do that, but say you're single. You should be rizzing up multiple women at a time on your phone. Like all the time. Like, what are you doing? You're putting in no effort. And you're trying to justify it and blame it on women that you aren't even trying to get them. You aren't even trying to make yourself be able to have a decent conversation. If you think there's a 0% chance that you're going to have a good conversation with a woman, it's your fault. It is 1000% your fault. You are to blame. You're the reason that there's a 0% chance of a great conversation. I actually believe this number for you, Gabriel, because you're a freak show. Because you can't have a great conversation. The incapability of that conversation happening lies solely with you. And you can change that. You can become just a normal person who likes human beings, who likes talking to people, who can hold a conversation. Because I guarantee you, women certainly can. Alright, so Tim Tucker, 09, says, I said hello to a woman at a bar one night and introduced myself. She walked away and told the bouncers I was harassing her. 3 bouncers came up to me and told me I had to leave. I couldn't even believe it happened. I've never gone back to that bar, and I've never tried talking to a woman at a bar since. Well, are you talking to women at other places? Like, clearly something you did was off-putting. This story could have happened, but I don't really believe you, honestly. You said hello and introduced yourself. Like, hello, I'm Tim Tucker. I keep thinking Tom Tucker. Is that the news guy from Family Guy? Hello, I'm Tim. Nice to meet you. Oh, gross, get away from me. She runs straight to the bouncers. This guy's harassing me, kick him out. I don't believe that that's what happened. Probably a lot more happened. Probably what happened is you're staring at this woman for like an hour and a half, making her wildly uncomfortable. You are probably I'm gonna guess significantly older than her. I don't know. You go up very creepily and slowly, staring at her the whole time. You come up, you say hello, you introduce yourself. She clearly makes it clear she doesn't want to talk to you. You insist, you will not leave. You sit down next to her. You try talking to her for like 5 minutes. She gets horribly uncomfortable and then goes to the bouncers and they kick you out. Not the worst thing in the world. Embarrassing, sure. But that's probably it. Move on. Learn. Hey, if I'm going to approach a woman, I got to do it in a natural way. Her comfort matters. But maybe she just misunderstood. Maybe your story is true. Well, guess what? That's going to happen I mean, that's never happened to me ever. I've never even heard of that happening to somebody in reality. Just, this is only a thing that incels online ever say, and you can only assume that they're leaving out a tremendous amount of detail. But even if we're going to be generous and say that this actually is something that happened, it's probably never going to happen again in your entire life. I've never met anyone that this has happened to. Never, not once. Um, you know. So, Christy Smith. Ooh, a woman commented. Yes, as a woman, I will explain why you don't get free drinks at the bar anymore. You all are too selective in what you mean. You scream equality, and what you actually mean is, I want a man to do exactly what I want him to. You want him to offer you a drink. You want him to pay for dinner. You want him to take care of you. You want him to reach things on the top shelf for you. You want him to upkeep your car. You want him to build you a house. But what do you do for him? When men did things like get the door for women, all women did was scream, I don't need you to open my door. I can get my own door. Don't need a man. If you do not want a man to open your door, then you don't need him to buy you a drink either. Remember, you can do things all by yourself, like buy yourself a drink. Congratulate women on that change. Great comment. Phenomenal comment. Couldn't agree with it more. Because yeah, that, like, society has changed. Especially a post-COVID society. Yeah. It's completely changed. It's unreasonable for men to be out there buying women drinks. It's kind of pathetic. I've kind of always found it pathetic. I try to even think of the times I've, like, bought a woman a drink. Like, the last time I was even in a situation like that, it was a woman bought me a drink. Like, I don't go to bars very often, especially in the last 5 years. So, but when I did, I remember, yeah, a woman, like, bought me drinks. Now, granted, she, like, worked there, so I don't even think she was buying them. I think she was just getting them. But I was drinking for free, maybe a couple times. But that's after, if I've been talking to a woman, like if I'm chatting her up in a bar, then if we've been talking for an hour, right? Like if she's gotten a couple drinks by herself, then all right, I'll pick up a round, you know. But just like talk to a woman, it's always so crazy when I've seen this. Anytime I've really seen a guy like approach a woman and buy her a drink, it's always like the guy just looks like he's never been with a woman, and the woman looks like she accepts it, but she can't wait to get away from the guy. And why would guys do that? It was crazy that guys ever did that to begin with, and it's extra absurd that they would continue to do that with the events that had unfolded in 2020. You know, like with the bar scene just kind of dying, it just makes less sense to do it now. It's less cost effective, right? I remember a couple times being in bars and specifically going for those women where this guy bought them a drink. They clearly want nothing to do with the guy, and you can kind of just see it through their facial expressions. And I'm like, man, I'm going to chat up that woman because she's going to be super receptive to it. She's looking for an out. This is going to be great. This is like, this is the best scenario. And it's worked well for me. It's a good move. It's a good play. You know, and it's hilarious. I remember it was a situation where this guy was buying these two girls drinks, and I'm like, man, those women look like they are just humoring this guy to get drinks. So I go and hang out with them. Um, and, both of these girls are giving me attention. I don't buy them a single drink. This guy continues to buy them drinks. And when he does, like the first time that he walks away from the table to go get another round of drinks for himself and them, they're immediately talking crap about him. They're like, yeah, we don't know this guy. We want nothing to do with him. He's just buying us drinks. And like, that happens, so why would men even ever engage with that? Now, these men, they should know better. They should. And I feel like men as a collective, they just know better now. They know not to do that because the guy clearly wasn't picking up the clear signals that these women were giving off. So probably he's probably like on the spectrum. There's actually this really cool test for autism that I just recently found out about, where it shows you these pictures of people's eyes, not their entire face, but usually their nose and their eyes, and then you choose from 4 different options. You can find it online, put like autism eye test, and then you pick from the 4 options as to what mood, what they're feeling. My friend who's on the spectrum, he showed me this, and he told me about how he scored super low on it, and then he was just quickly like, so I'm like sitting way over here from him, and from a distance, not even looking like square onto his computer monitor, I'm just throwing out suggestions of exactly what they're feeling. He showed me like 4 or 5 of them, and some of them I didn't even see what the prompts or what the options were to choose from of what they're feeling, and I just was 100% right on exactly what they're feeling. Now my buddy, despite him scoring quite low on this test, like he gets relationships, he gets women. I remember at one point he was getting date after date after date from dating apps. Like, he puts himself out there and actually gets dates despite having a major setback, right? And I even said to him, oh my god, this would make getting to know new people way harder, because you can't just look at them and like instantly know what they're thinking and feeling. That would make this really hard. So if that guy, has had multiple long relationships and gets women, then we all can. Like, now I know people with like autism, because they don't have that ability, they like start to pick up on other things. So it's not like it's just like, you gotta adapt, right? And I'm sure that's what this guy has done, is adapted, and he's had success with women. So yeah, women need to understand, you pushed for equality, you got it big time. Like, literally society and the law favors you. You're outperforming men. Like, you're in a way better position than men. You should be buying men drinks for sure. That's just the reality of the world we live in, especially post COVID, where we're in this economic ruin. The idea that men would be out there buying drinks for women is absurd. It's completely absurd. Well, we'll continue. So Sean the Noob says, I'm 46 and I have never been given a compliment by a random woman ever. I don't even believe you. First of all. Second of all, why would you care? Why? It's funny that these comments I'm noticing are edited. I don't think these upper ones were, but like, what was this before the edit? All right, never been approached or had a woman come to me and make small talk ever. Never had been flirted with by a woman at any event / gathering. Never been asked for my phone number ever. Nothing. Welcome to feeling what men feel their entire lives. I'm not fat, have all my hair, in shape, work hard. Yeah, you're Elliot. You sound like Elliot Rodger, who would just creep around and expect that women would approach him. Women would see how magnificent he is and superior and approach him and ask him for his number and ask him out on dates. Not how it works, bud. Not how it works, bud. Like, I mean, look at me, right? Like, no, I just shaved my head last night. Just getting into this bald head thing. I definitely could use some sun. But do you think now granted, I have had women ask for my number and ask me out and such. But I mean, come on. Like let's exist in reality for a moment here. I'm definitely not a looker, but I am 6'2" and hardworking, right? I am kind of fat. I don't know if I'm bold, if it would be accurate to say that I'm not fat, but I'm not super fat. Right now I don't have my hair. You can kind of see my hairline, but like I do have a thick head of hair. To be fair, I'm not some bald dude, but I'm not in shape. No one would ever mistake me for being in shape, ever at any point in my life. And the times I've been asked out are pretty rare, like probably 5 times total in my life. So yeah, I don't expect that it will happen that many more times throughout my life. Like maybe 5 more times. Ever? That's not a lot. That's not a lot, right? Considering what I bring to the table, being like a noticeably higher tier of guy. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't expect, right? Like me being a tall guy who has always had lots of friendships with lots of women, a lot of women interested in me. I can probably expect that maybe 5 more times in my entire life. So a total of 10. So if you're not clearly of a higher like status and tier, you should expect to never be asked out by a woman. Like I'm saying, like 95% of men should expect to never be asked out. So I don't get what you're getting at here. Like, you're not really saying anything. This isn't interesting or informative. Kind of a really pointless and bizarre comment to leave. Yeah. And what do you mean? What do you mean you've never been flirted with at an event / gathering? Because it's on you. Like, as the man, it's on you to approach the woman. So, if you're saying that you've never really been approached, but saying you've never flirted is something different, because what should be happening is you're approaching women, and that's resulting, on occasion, right? It's going to be most times, it's not going to result in anything. But sometimes it should be resulting in flirting with women. So you're kind of left out that context. Never been flirted with by a woman. Does that mean you've never interacted with the woman? Your interactions with women at events and gatherings have never led to flirtation? That could only be true if you've approached like 5 women ever at events and gatherings and it's never gone well. And maybe you've probably only approached 10 to 15 women in your entire life. Then yeah, I would believe this. But realistically, it kind of isn't making sense. It's not exactly lining up to a logical conclusion, because how is it that you've never been asked for your phone number? Because a lot of times you should be rizzing up a woman, and before you ask her for her phone number, she asks you for yours. So are you just like Elliot Rodger, kind of creeping around and waiting for women to approach you? If by the time you're 46 it's never happened, you probably should have realized at some point, or realize now, it's never going to happen. That's not how life works. So I don't know if it was just the first part, but the second paragraph here where it says, welcome to feeling what men feel their entire lives. I'm not fat, I have all my hair, I'm in shape, I work hard. So does that mean that you should? It's like you're concluding that you should be being approached by women all over the place, and you're butthurt that you're not. But that's never going to be how life works, right? Like I know people who are absolute Riz lords. My one buddy is just like absolutely attractive, like just reeks of attractiveness. Super successful with women. He's like married and has kids now, so he doesn't like pursue women, but women pursue him. But like that's like a 1 in 10,000 kind of guy. And even then, it's not like constant. It's not like you can't go out with the guy and he's never not being approached by women. It's just some of the times, maybe a fifth of the time you go out with them, and a lot of times it's going to be because some woman like recognizes him. What is my camera doing? Alright, I don't know what my camera's doing. It just gave up. Okay, I think I might have overheated. I just touched it. It's pretty hot. I'm gonna like try to turn it off here. So the this expectation, like what point are you ultimately getting at with this comment here? Who's this for? Like, why are you saying that you're not fat and you have your hair? Weird. But we'll continue. So Grand One Simon, not only young men, every man feels like this. We're the enemy. I'm white, single, heterosexual, 6'5", and 300 pounds. So, guilty until proven innocent. Thank you. What? What? What the hell are you talking about, dude? I'm so confused here. How do I... Does this guy post videos? What the hell is this? No, he just, like, makes playlists of other people's videos? Or I guess to watch, probably. But, seriously, you're telling me that you're 6'5" and you completely fail to get women? Like, what's happening here? What? Oh my god. I don't even believe you. Even if you're 6'5", 300 pounds, like, you need to lose some lbs, but you should be able to get women super easily. If you're failing to get women, I don't even know what to say. Like, you suck. You suck bad. But there are, I guess, plenty of tall guys out there who just never learn Riz. Quit being creepy as hell. Like, it's not that hard. It should be pretty easy for you. Now, anyone of any height or race, or I don't know why you put heterosexual. That's so weird. That's so, like, this is just bizarre complaining. Oh, like, are you trying to say if you were gay, you would, your approaching women would be, what, less likely to get you arrested? Like, what the hell are you talking about here? Like, I don't, like, what is this? What the hell is this? What context? Add context to your comment. Make it make sense. What is wrong with you? I want to help you. Chivalry is dead and women killed it. Dave Chappelle, yeah. A classic. No, I completely disagree with this. The Dan. A guy's creepiness is dependent on his level of attractiveness. 10 out of 10 would agree. Nope, there's plenty of super attractive, creepy dudes. Absolutely. And even if you're unattractive, you can be a guy who's like a 3 out of 10 and be an absolute Rizzlord and not be creepy. How do 800 people like this comment? Again, like, look at me. I'm not some like bombshell guy. It's and I'm not everyone's cup of tea, right? I'm not into sports. A lot of manly things I'm just not very into at all. Right? It is genuinely hard for me to build attraction with people who don't have common interests. Right? Like, there's a woman who I would who I've known for a long time, who I would date her, right? She's real attractive. I would totally take her on a date. And I've tried to build attraction with her. But she just isn't into the same stuff. So it makes it very hard. It makes it very hard. Like, the only television she consumes is the Home Garden Network. I'm not into gardening. Like, there's no connection, no easy way to build attraction. Have I probably built some attraction with her? Yes. But, like, it's way harder. Now, I haven't been creepy towards her, but that's because I know how to, like, talk to women and not be creepy. You've just never learned to talk to women. It's so clearly true. I know several men who aren't attractive at all, who do, like, who do nothing to make themselves attractive, who do things that make themselves unattractive, but still can talk to a woman and it not be creepy at all. So your comment's wrong. I completely disagree. I know you'd instantly invalidate my disagreement somehow. You'd be like, oh, well, that doesn't matter because blah blah blah. I've literally disagreed with similar ideas like this, and them say, oh, well, you actually, like, get women, so you don't count. Your opinion doesn't count. How does that make any sense? Alright, Jeffrey Taylor says, I was going into work several years ago and held the door open for a man and woman. I was raised to be polite. The man thanked me as he entered, but the woman just glared at me as she walked in. As soon as I entered, she got in my face, screaming about how she doesn't need a man to open a door for her, and she's a strong woman, yada yada. She followed me to the elevator, screaming at me. People were watching. At that moment, I realized a simple act of kindness could destroy my career. From that day, I never hold the door open for anyone. I just let it close behind me, even if they are right there. In elevators, I keep my hands folded in front of me or in my pockets and stare at the floor. If a woman speaks to me, I just nod and say nothing. It's not worth destroying my career just to be polite. This is the environment being created by women today, and they wonder why men have no interest in approaching them. This is absurd. So your reaction to this happening, first of all, this doesn't even sound like anything that actually happened. Like, the woman follows you around screaming at you. Doesn't sound remotely believable. I don't know how this could possibly lead to destroying your career. I feel like these are just, like, weirdos who have never stepped outside. What career do you have that you've never interacted with human beings? It just doesn't make any sense. Because everyone knows that there are just lunatics. That there are people who are drugged out, who are strung out, go around and they're just literally hammered, pissed drunk, who just do insane things that don't make any sense. So even if this happened, and somehow this woman like complained to your boss that you held the door for her and you're like a sexist, what would that do? Like, literally, what do you think would happen, man? Your story doesn't add up. Because if that did happen, you'd say, yeah, I held the door for this woman and she started screaming at me and like following me, and they'd be able to verify that. You said that people were watching. If some crazy woman is freaking out at you for no reason and you're like trying to escape her, someone's probably going to notice. And even if there was no one who noticed, or no proof of this, your boss isn't going to give a crap. You're not going to lose your career. Like, what the hell are you talking about? This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense at all, man. Everyone knows that there are crazy people in the world. So this happening like means nothing. It means nothing. Nothing. So what the hell are you talking about? You take something that probably didn't even happen. This is probably just some weird fake story that you heard from some other woman-hating incel. But even if this did happen, it would be so meaningless. Like, what the hell? And I can tell by you saying what you did after this happening that you are a very insecure, very bizarre person who doesn't interact with human beings very much. Because if you did, you would know that, hey, there's crazy people out there and they can't actually affect anything. Even if they're coming after you, accusing you of something, that it's not gonna matter. It's meaningless because that person's crazy. Right? Unless somebody can like prove you've done something wrong, then it's practically meaningless. Right? Like, someone can try to attack your reputation, but just don't allow them to. Stand up for yourself. Like, I don't... what eventuality are you even imagining? That this woman goes to your boss and says, oh, this guy's a sexist piece of crap. He held the door for me. And that, oh, your boss is going to find out that you did, in fact, hold the door for a woman. Okay, and that's going to lead to you being fired and being ostracized from any other employer that might employ you for your career. Like, what? On what planet does this ever happen to anyone? It doesn't, man. It absolutely does not. This is a bizarre fantasy that is created by pathetic losers who never accomplish anything and want to blame women for that, blame anyone else besides themselves, who get in trouble, who harass women, who most likely harass women, do crazy, creepy, wild stuff, and face some sort of repercussions for it, and then just hide for the rest of their lives. I don't know. Because this doesn't make any sense. The story doesn't add up at all. And the fact that you say you keep your hands folded, I stare at the floor in the elevator, I won't react to anyone. If a woman talks to me, oh man, I just nod and say nothing. Like, what? What the why? This makes no sense, dude. There's no reason to do that. The only person who would do that is some, like, psycho lunatic. Like, you're literally the person in the wrong in this story. If this is true, you are entirely in the wrong. Not for holding the door, but for refusing to interact with people based off of practically nothing. That doesn't make any sense. What makes sense is this attitude you say you have of you not talking to people, nodding, being like way too antisocial to function, is probably how you actually exist. And you are butthurt that you holding the door for women on occasion hasn't led to her like saying, oh, here's my number, let's go on a date, you're such a romantic guy. That hasn't happened. You're angry about it. That your tiny act of kindness, your heroic, valorant, brave holding the door for a woman hasn't led to a relationship. Somehow magically spawned a relationship. And you're real mad about it. So you're just perpetuating some bizarre fantasy that you've cooked up or some other incel has cooked up. This isn't real. Fake story. I gotta dislike it, man. Alright, so Ryan O'Hara. As a man, I'll weigh in. I don't drink, and most people, would imagine, don't expect to find their dream lady in a bar. Furthermore, I'm not a fan of narcissists. I'd rather be single forever than have to deal with BS. Alright, sure. This guy, I kind of believe his comment. Hey, if you don't want to date, sure. Great. Fine. Cool. Phenomenal. And yeah, that's what this woman definitely fails to understand is you're probably like in your 30s. You're probably 30 years old, and the 21-year-old guy at the bar probably ain't looking for you, right? Like, why do you think he's not asking you out? Why do you think you're coming across as a bar regular? Like, not only do men not want to meet a woman at a bar who isn't a regular, but they definitely ain't going for a woman who seems like a regular, right? And the woman who's going around approaching dudes at bars seems like a regular. Alright, Daisy Metro Trolling says, women used to reject with grace, men would approach with respect. The creeps were creeps. Now women frame every approach from a man they don't want as harassment from a creep. My mother taught me to never be a creep, and I don't think I'm very desirable. Best to leave well enough alone. I really liked what you said, except that last comment, best to leave well enough alone. Well, I guess I don't really like everything that you say. I like some of what you say. First of all, do not leave well enough alone. Don't just accept this bizarre idea, because it's not true. And the fact that your comment is short leads me to believe that you kind of don't really believe that it's true either. You just see some posts, you see those shorts by that Joey Swole guy where women are setting up cameras at the gym and pretending like they're being like ogled because people like look at them or the camera or the stupid workout that they're doing, or the fact that they're just like checking themselves out. It's like the people at the gym are probably like, oh god, can this woman get out of here? Or oh god, am I in the frame of this woman's camera? Like, what the hell is she doing? She's doing everything but working out. Like, get out of here, lady. But that's like a couple of desperate attention-seeking wannabe Instagram models. That is a very small percentage of anything. So when you say now women frame every approach from a man they don't want as harassment from a creep, that's not true. That's not true at all. And the thing is that you're like butthurt about women having a story that they tell. Like when women talk about, they might say, oh, like some creepy guy approached me at the bar. All right, why does that idea like fascinate you so much? Why do you obsess over it and get butthurt about it? Like, yeah, sure, maybe that's what she'll say. Like, oh, yeah, this guy. Like, it probably happens so much to women that they don't even bother telling each other about it. They probably don't even mention it. Because why would you? Right? Like, that's not an interesting story. If a woman is approached and rejects a guy, then there shouldn't be enough of a story for her to even ever tell the story of anything happened. There's no story to tell. There's nothing interesting there. and being asked out and rejecting a guy. It's a quick interaction, straightforward. So what's going on is in your head, you're imagining that she is like calling up her friend freaking Tracy and saying like, oh my god, you wouldn't believe it. This guy just approached me at the grocery store and asked me out. What a creep. And that's like this obsessive thought in your mind. It's like terrifying to you. This is the public humiliation that the guy in the first comment talked about, or that Gabriel guy, where it's like a 15% chance of public humiliation. That's ultimately what they mean. Is like, it's this weird fantasy in their head that this is like this huge deal, that there was this creepy guy who approached me. When in reality, probably many times, probably literally 500 times have they rejected a guy. So you don't even stand out in their memory. I've literally met women more than one time. I've met women, gotten their numbers, and then years later ran into them at a party and start chatting them up, and they clearly don't even remember that we like met before. Right? Because sometimes you get numbers and you don't even call them. You don't even use them, right? Or maybe, any number of things can happen. I've met women where like I made out with them at a party, years later run into them somewhere, and we're shooting the shit at the beach or somewhere randomly, and they don't even remember me. Like, they don't even remember that. There's people I don't remember. Like, I've literally like had interactions with people that I don't even remember, because I was drunk or something. Where it's like, oh yeah, huh? Like, I remember my coworker telling me, like, we were talking about our other coworker's house. And I'm like, oh yeah, where's that? And they're like, you've been there. And I said, no, I haven't. What do you mean? And then they explained the story. I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, I guess I was at that house. Weird. You were there? Like, yeah, we talked. Oh, crazy. So like, it's just bizarre. Just you gotta escape this like fantasy realm where you mean the world. Your creepy approach, or you're just not even creepy approach, but you just being rejected by some woman is like the end all be all. Like, you ruined her year and she has some crazy vendetta against you. No. Like, yeah, if you stare at her for 3 hours, you follow her from bar to bar, you go up and approach her, like, staring at her the whole time, and like, your approach, you're jittery and zero confidence and creepy as shit. Yeah, she's probably going to remember that. Probably going to remember that for a while. But you're just cold approaching a random woman, giving her a compliment, asking her for a number, getting declined, and moving on. She won't even remember it the next day. There's no reason for her to even tell somebody the story. Like, even if the same day she mentions to her friend, like, oh yeah, some guy asked me out at Sears. I don't even know if Sears exists anymore, but a guy asked me out at Sears. Oh, did you give him your number? No. That's not even an interesting story. That's not even of any significance. Even then, both people will remember, both her and the theoretical friend that she told that this even happened to, will not even remember that is something that happened the very next day. So, guys, you gotta remove yourself from this fantasy land that exists in your head, where you being rejected is like this enormous public humiliation. You got real lucky that she didn't call the cops on you. She was just waiting to call the cops on you. Like, no, she's not. No. Again, I've never even met somebody who has approached a woman and got the cops called on them, or met a woman who's called the cops on a guy who approached her. Never once. And I know a lot of women and a lot of men. Like, this isn't something that happens more than like 1 in a million people. Like, realistically, 1 in a million people does this ever. Maybe 1 in 500,000. Let's say 1 in 500,000 people does something like that even ever happen to in their life. My God. But these people will sit here and bitch about this theoretical online and spread their ideology of this delusional fantasy that they've crafted and say that it's and proudly wear it as a badge, as them using that as an excuse as to why they'll never approach a woman again in their life, and just spew out this ideology as if other people should be living their lives this way, which is completely terrified to ever approach a woman or ask a woman out, whether it be in person or online. And it's so weird. It's so weird. So Joe Tony says, who wants to be called a creep? Who wants to put themselves in a position to be humiliated in public by some lady over approaching her? Guys who get women. I have to comment. Men who get women do. I can't put it more bluntly. Because that's the reality, dude. That's the reality. Who cares? Like I said in part 1, there was a month before I started college where I asked out 300 women face to face. Now, did I get 300 numbers? No, because that's not how it works. Right? I probably got anywhere from like 25 to 30. Like I said, I was in another country. I wasn't even putting the numbers into my phone. I was pretending to type them. I was giving women my number, which was literally fake. Like, this was just to get good. I was already good. This was to get really good at approaching women. Wow, this is just... Men who get women understand that 80% of the time it's going to be a no. So those men don't give a shit about being humiliated in public, and they don't see it as humiliation because they understand that people know this. They understand that women know this. Women know that when men approach women, that there's like an 80% chance that it's like a guaranteed no, an instant no, not even considered that there would be a yes. So why would they like hate you or think you're some kind of massive creep for just simply asking out a woman? Like, literally this entire video, the video that this comment is on, is literally women saying that more men should be approaching more women. That's the point of the video. That's why the woman made the video. Because women universally agree with that. Not universally, but like the huge majority of women agree with that, especially right now today. So if anything, you're gonna get more respect. Like, literally, whatever stranger happens to those. First of all, these people, they exist in this fantasy world where if they're out in public, that the entire room, the entire area is paying attention to everything they do. That's not the case. Take it from someone who asked out 300 women in a month in like public areas, mostly outside, because it was like all these different summer events, like a fair and so and so. Like, it was a very fun summer. Maybe of 300, maybe 5 times out of 300 were like adjacent people probably paying attention, probably even like aware that, hey, this guy's like raising up this woman, asking this woman for her number, cold approaching this woman. And of those 5 out of 300, maybe 3 even, like, you know, cared to pay a little bit of attention, listen for 2 seconds as to how it might be going. And of those 3 who maybe even listened or heard any of it, maybe one of them even like cared, even like thought like, oh, like, you know, that guy's got some riz, or that guy this is a big fail. This guy doesn't have riz. This ain't it. This didn't a shot and a miss. And even then, why would I care? Why would I ever let that affect anything I do? I can't imagine that affecting anything that I do. If that were to happen, if that were the case, if some random adjacent person thought less of me. And I guess even beyond like someone who's not necessarily with the person who you're approaching, there's sometimes where it's like 2 women or 5 women. I don't care. Even if like I ask this woman out, she rejects me, she's there with like 3 of her friends. Even if her and the 3 friends all think that I'm a creep, why would I give a shit? Like, why would that? Like, it wouldn't matter at all, right? Like, I don't want to like creep somebody out. I don't want to, you know, I want to not be rejected. But who cares? There's like an 80% guarantee that it's going to happen regardless. So I just don't care, and you shouldn't care, and no one should care. And it's how is it even? How does it even matter? People have got a very bizarre fear of public humiliation. Like, what? How do you think you even exist in public? There's billions of people in the world. There's probably at least tens of millions of people in the country you live in. It's just an ocean of people out there. How can you even care? I just don't understand. I just don't understand it at all. How do you think you exist in public? Like, literally, even in the scenario where you ask a woman out, she thinks you're a creep, and her 3 friends think you're a creep, they're going to forget you the next day. But like a week from then, they're not even going to remember. Because it probably happens all the time. Right? Like, what the hell? Like, why would it matter? I don't understand why people choose to live their lives with this bizarre fear of public humiliation. And simply getting rejected by asking a woman out, it's not humiliating. It shouldn't be. It should never be. Why would it be? Doesn't make sense. Mathematically, it's the most likely outcome. That's like suggesting that, oh, I swung a golf club, I teed off, and I didn't make it on the green. Well, yeah, that's the most likely outcome. Like, you know, why would anyone think any less of you? Why would that be humiliating? Right? Even if you're Tiger Woods, that wouldn't be humiliating. So, get some perspective. So who wants to be called a creep and publicly humiliated by getting rejected? Guys who get women. Guys who get women. Because they don't care. They're reasonable, rational human beings who understand that it's freaking meaningless. That woman who calls you a creep or rejects you, that she's going to forget about the interaction entirely the next day. 100% of the time. So, Katza George says, the sane women need to be louder than the insane ones online. It ain't happening so far. Step up, ladies. I don't think the original woman's insane. I think that she just doesn't really understand the bar scene. I think the woman reacting to her kind of could have stuck on topic a little bit more. Just pointing out that, like, yeah, people don't go to the bar anymore. People definitely ain't going to be buying you drinks. And she probably should have pointed out the age thing, that, yeah, if you were getting bought drinks at the bar 6 years ago, well, you're 6 years older now, lady, so Things have changed. Let's see if there's any more interesting comments here. Alright, this one's got to be cringe. Alright, California Trail 45 says, single for a few years now. Car paid off. No credit card debt. Learned to be a better cook. Condo almost paid off. Go to the gym whenever I want without getting accused of cheating. I'll keep it that way. I am happy? Question mark. No, but I'm not made to feel unhappy, guilty, or lonely. Alright, that's actually a super reasonable comment. Because the person's not literally saying that they aren't happy, like they're lonely. This person's just like a normal person. This is a good comment. Because yeah, a lot of people, like so many guys get like hung up on this approaching women thing that they never really have any kind of serious relationship, or even if they get into a relationship somehow, they're not mature enough to really get into the later stages of a relationship, by which I don't necessarily mean marriage. I just mean like being, say, 2 years into a relationship, and having to make serious like life decisions in that relationship. They just haven't really experienced that, and so they don't even know how they exist in relationships. And they should understand that you're going to struggle enormously. Your chance of getting rejected when you approach a woman, it's going to be higher than 80%. It's going to be like 99% until you start approaching women. You're going to get better at it. It's going to go up to like 95% chance of getting rejected. Then as you start to learn that skill of just approaching women, you're going to get better and better at it. And you're going to start getting yeses, which means you're going to start getting dates. And probably your first couple attempts at starting a relationship probably aren't going to go super great. And it's a process, a progressive process, right? So you're going to have some failed relationships that end probably very early. And then you're going to, as time goes on, you're going to realize, all right, I should avoid these types of women. I don't want to date this type of woman. And maybe in relationships, maybe I could be better at this and better at that. And so then your relationships are going to start getting longer and more serious. And then as that happens, you're going to start really finally understanding what it actually means to be in a relationship. What it actually feels like, what you actually have to deal with, because you're experiencing it. So with that knowledge, you're going to become even better. You're going to actually reach that 80% by actually having a good idea of who you are in relationships, who your potential partner is in a relationship or could be, what you actually want them to be, what you're actually looking for. And with that understanding of yourself and what you want, you're going to be noticeably bringing that into your approaches of women. And because of that, those women are going to pick up on it, and they're going to be more likely to say yes and for the interaction to be good, because they can see the value that you bring. That's where a lot of guys get totally lost and confused with the whole idea of like men getting women and it being easy for like Chad, for like guys who get women. It's because they bring more to the table than you do, right? There's this insane narrative that like, oh, well, I'm such a nice guy, blah, blah, blah. You're not a nice guy. Fundamentally, you're not. Like you could be. Maybe you've just completely failed. But you're not nice because you haven't tried to get good at talking to women, to having women in your life, to understanding women. And that comes through in your interactions with women. That's what makes you kind of creepy and off-putting to women, is that other men have put in the effort, have learned how to make themselves attractive to women, which is through confidence and being fun and lighthearted and a good time, caring about that they're having a good time. So those men have had relationships, thus they understand relationships, thus they know what they want and can bring that criteria to the table. And if a woman has red flags, they can outright address it. You can say, "Oh well, I like you, but like, what's going on with this? Can you get this sorted out?" You can just flat out ask them, like, "All right, what is the deal with this?" And kind of not even have to necessarily put it into the exact words of, "All right, I need you to change this," but ask in a way that makes it pretty clear that this is like important to you, that you probably ain't going to be dating this woman if so and so is how it seems. So that's just going to make women way more attracted to you. The fact that you obviously know what you want. That's why women say things like confidence is important in knowing what you want, making it clear what you want. It's so attractive to them because it signals to them that that you are desirable by other women, that you've been with other women, that you like know how to bring value to a relationship, and that you're seeking value in them, that they might not live up to your standards, and thus you might have to like reject them, right? That's ultimately how you get good at approaching women, is you need to approach women and genuinely, you can't fake it, sincerely be seeking to reject them. And because women will notice. They are social people. They will notice these things. So yeah, you have to get good. There's no way. There's no cheat code. There's no way around it. There's no shaming women, blaming women, getting women. Oh, women need to change their whole mentality. No, they probably don't. Now, mathematically, they do, right? Mathematically, there's more straight women than there are straight men. So, like, the odds are in your favor, men. But y'all are doing weird stuff. You're doing weirdo stuff. You're asking a woman out once 8 years ago and then never again. You're eliminating yourself from the dating pool by doing this. I don't know why. Like, I wish you would grow up and take some responsibility. Alright, this comment's got some choice words. So Philip here says, "Because women all jumped on the Me Too / Believe All Women wagon, started accusing all men of displaying toxic masculinity and labeling us all as creeps and potential R-word ists. WTF did y'all think would happen?" Alright, this is just absurd. You're dead wrong here. Again, this is this delusional fantasy where this guy thinks that just asking a woman out and getting rejected is going to lead to this insane, impossible trail of craziness. Like, do you even know what, like, the Me Too even is? It seems like you don't. Like, Me Too is, like the biggest figures of that are Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein was, like, employing people. So he had power over people because they're looking to get jobs from him. So he was in a position of power. So that's like the whole thing. The whole thing of Me Too is like, oh, many women have been asked for sex from, let's say, their boss or somebody, their teacher, somebody in a position of power over them. So they're in a position where it's like, if I say no, I could lose my job. I could get kicked out of school. I could get some kind of terrible repercussion. What does that have anything to do with asking women out? What does toxic masculinity have anything to do with anything. Like, yeah, toxic masculinity is one of the stupidest phrases out there. It's a term that makes no sense because there is no toxicity in masculinity, none whatsoever. Now, in manliness, there can be some toxic elements for sure, but masculinity is just like, it's just like taking care of people, protecting people, providing for people, being there for people, standing up for others. There's literally nothing toxic about it can even possibly exist. Now, manliness, which is like, you know, can be a huge variety of things, right? It can be sports. It can be, you know, hanging out with the boys, which can be toxic. You can have a group of toxic men, and toxic ideologies can form amongst men. I would say things like inceldom, black pill, red pill, are toxic manliness. That certainly exists, but that simply existing, I don't know why that would even matter. Right? Like, what fantasy? You're just living in this bizarro delusion. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. This is so bizarre. Like, what are you getting at here? That men should be able to just approach women for sex, even if they're in a position of power? Like, you should just be like, hey, employee, have sex with me. You know, you don't want to risk losing your job. That should just be okay? I don't... This is a really bad take, dude. Really bad take. Alright. Alright. Hada Kess Sports says, was at a Barnes & Noble today, chilling out, reading a book at their Starbucks. There was this insanely cute girl working there with cute tattoos, and that helped me with finding something before. I really, really wanted to talk to her, tell her tattoos looked really cool, and if I could take her out to lunch or dinner sometime. But every cell in my body was screaming at me to not do it. You're too ugly for her. She probably is seeing someone. You're just bothering her. You're being a creep. So I left without saying anything. I wish I could get rid of these insecurities so much. Now that is a great statement. And that's what's going on with so many of these guys who struggle with finding dates. That's 100% what's going on. Is they're running through all this stuff. And the problem is that you care way too much about rejection, and so many of these things are just absurd fantasies. Right? If you just ask her out, compliment her tattoos, what you should do so say like, hi, blah blah blah. Like, don't even say her name, but just say, hi, like, you got really nice tattoos. Can I take you out to lunch sometime? Or don't say sometime. Say, I don't really go to Starbucks, so it kind of depends on the day. But ask her to lunch or dinner the next day or the same day. Like, if you're there in the morning, and it might be logical that she ends her shift prior to dinner time, ask her out. Like, yeah, why not? Literally just do that. But don't say sometime, because sometime is like way too vague. I don't like sometime. Sometime can work. But it kind of just leaves things too vague. It just creates like, it's too non-specific. You want to be direct. So asking out for a specific time, or you could say on the weekend. I would say tomorrow or the weekend, unless it is the weekend. But say tomorrow or the weekend, either one, doesn't actually matter. But ask her out for lunch or dinner. Don't say lunch or dinner sometime. That's so vague. That just doesn't sound like you would potentially be unable, that if she said yes, that it would be this whole like scheduling nightmare. That I'd be like, all right, would you like to have lunch or would you like to have dinner? What time is good for you? Like, she wants to somewhat be directed. So say, I really like your tattoos. I like your look. Can I take you out to dinner tomorrow? And then if she's not available for dinner tomorrow and she wants to like say yes, even if she has to work or whatever the hell, she's just going to say, all right, I can't tomorrow, but I can Thursday. And then you take her out Thursday and then say, great, give me, like, let me get your number. Because you'll need her number to, like, you'll want to verify the plan. And then say, you very well could get a date from this. If you nut up and just do it. So say you get her number. Text her minimally. Say it's a Monday and she can go out Thursday. So then you have her number and potentially like you have a date planned. You need to at some point verify those plans, like reiterate like, all right, I'm excited to see you Thursday. Do that on Wednesday. All right, Monday right now, you asked her out. She couldn't go out tomorrow, but she can go out Thursday. Text her on Wednesday and say, I'm excited to see you tomorrow. Do that like Wednesday morning, but then kind of like dry text. And I don't mean dry as in like one word answers, but don't text a lot. Like keep the conversation minimal. Like maybe she'll be like, oh, I'm excited too. Wait like 2 hours to text her and say like, I like your style and I'm excited to get to know you. And then say she replies like a half hour later. Don't text her till the nighttime. Some time where you might be going to bed. Say like, see you tomorrow, good night. Boom, that's it. So in total you sent like 3 texts between getting her number and going on the date. That's how I would play it. That's exactly how I would play it. But yeah, these ideas you have in your head that maybe you're too ugly, that maybe you're bothering her, maybe you're a creep, you got to remove those from your head. Those make no sense. Why would you ever allow that to even... That should never be in your head at all, at any point ever, even a little bit. Because again, even if she, for some reason, even if you aren't attractive enough for her to go on a date with you, who cares? Whatever. Like, doesn't matter. Maybe you're not her type. Whatever, man. Who cares? You're not her type anyway. It was never going to work out anyway. Who gives a shite? There's going to be tons of other women who will find you attractive. So, just make it so she can't possibly see you as a creep. Just if you go up to her, you know, say she's working behind the counter. You make your order. You say, I really like your tattoos. She'll probably say, oh, thank you. Say, can I take you out to dinner tomorrow? She'll either say yes or no, or tomorrow doesn't work for me. If she says tomorrow doesn't work for me, say Thursday. Maybe she'll throw out another date, but you probably want to jump in and say Thursday. Don't like talk over her, but if there's a lull, if she says, oh, like I tomorrow doesn't work for me, suggest another day. And she'll either say yes or no to that. She says yes, say, all right, can I get your number? Or don't say that specifically, but say, all right, great, I'll need your number. And pull out your phone and open up your phone and get to the point of where you're typing in the number And while you're doing that, say like, "What's your name, by the way?" And she'll probably tell you her name, and then you say your name, and then she tells you her number. You type in the number, and you smile, you say goodbye, you take your latte or whatever, and you get the hell out of there. You dip. You dip. And you do not stop by that Starbucks until the date happens. And you do not, like I said, you verify the plans, but you do it like the day before, like the morning before. You definitely don't like text her immediately. Well, actually, you should. Maybe you should. So you leave. So let's say you go in your car with your latte. Or maybe do it right then and there while she's giving you the number. Like the moment she gives you the number. Just literally text it immediately and say, "Hey, this is Carlos." Then boom. Simple. But yeah, don't get in your head, man. That's what's happening with all these people is you're so stuck in your head. You're so worried about being perceived as a creep or bothering or not meeting someone's standards, and it's preventing you from learning a very critical human skill, a skill that you will need. You will need it. It will take you from having a like 1% chance of not getting rejected to like a 20% chance of not getting rejected. It certainly will. You gotta start asking women out. You're not just gonna be great at something the first time. No one is. No one is when it comes to anything. Give yourself the room to get good, to learn, to grow, to figure things out. Don't just give up without ever even trying. Please, people, please, I'm begging with you. What's actual toxic masculinity is this crap is justifying you never even trying something as basic and instinctual and human as approaching women, as pursuing women. It is like your job. It's a part of masculinity, a key part. So when these guys try to like blame women and say it's impossible to approach women, you'll get the cops called on you if you approach women. They're attacking masculinity, actual masculinity. What could be more masculine than getting women? That's what bothers me about all these like red pill dorks like Fresh and Fit and Andrew Tate. It's like they literally preach this crap that demolishes the part of masculinity which is important and should be the focus, which is getting women. Like, wouldn't your life be so much better and easier if you just got women? But these freak shows will sit out here and preach to these men that what they need to do is they need to wake up at 5 a.m. and hit the gym. They need to cut anyone out of their lives who isn't helping them with the goal of being a multi-millionaire. Because that's how you'll get women, is to become a multi-millionaire, is be in the top like 1% of income earners. Do something that's gonna be just flat out impossible for the majority of people. They're attacking masculinity. They're preventing you from going right to the end goal, from actually accomplishing anything, from being a successful man, an actual masculine man who gets women. They're stopping you and they're telling you you need to do all this other, they're taking you down some side path, some side mission where it's like, give us all this money and we'll teach you how to make more and more money, because that's never a scam. And then you'll eventually go down this path to where you can get these, like, all you need to do is sit here and propagandize to women over and over again, and you're going to change women's mindset, and all of a sudden they're going to be approaching men and they're going to want to be a trad wife. This like psychotic delusion where it's like multiple layers of propaganda and brainwashing to where they want to make you into a guy who spews this garbage online, that this is somehow going to change women's outlook, which is then going to result in you getting this like 1950s wife. It's so demented and insane, and it's leading men down this path of insanity, of insane delusion where they think that this makes any sense. Like what I'm telling men here It's just simple, basic advice they can apply to actually start having a dating life, getting relationships, and getting women. I do not suggest you become a multimillionaire. I would say that that's the worst thing you could do. I would call what Andrew Tate preaches as self-induced slavery. That's it, because it's demented. It's taking you down the wrong path. If you need millions of dollars to get women, those aren't good women, right? Those are trash bag women who are just seeking to get clout and money. Why would you want anything to do with those women? Those women don't have personalities. They're not interesting. They're just looking to screw you over and nothing else, to extract resources from you. Why would you want that? Like, this idea that you need to spend 10 years building up all this wealth and then you'll be an alpha male who can get women because you're a multi-millionaire is so backwards and absurd, and putting people down this insane path and thinking that it's reasonable to sit here and blame women for your lack of basic communication with half of the world's population is wild. It's so wild and wrong. And it does you no good. It keeps you, where it keeps you is right here where we are right now, in the comment section of a YouTube video, instead of out in the world spending time with women, getting women. And I wish more people would start to realize it, and that's ultimately why I wanted to make this channel here on YouTube, is to lead people down a path that actually makes sense, that actually creates happiness in their life and positivity. Because what I'm actually preaching here is a positive message that, yes, once you get good at asking out women, there is still an 80% chance of rejection. Yeah, but that doesn't matter. That means nothing. That means literally nothing. That has never once stopped me from asking out women. That's never stopped like the huge majority of men from ever asking out women. Everyone knows this, right? Everyone who's not some like online incel creep knows this. They understand this. They understand that this is how men and women function in society. Men are the pursuers, and they're going to get rejected the huge majority of the time due to no fault of their own, due to just the circumstances of life, of just women not being available. So you can, in your mind, think, she probably is already seeing someone. Because, yeah, there's a 50% chance that she is. So what? So what if you ask her out and she rejects you? So what? Guess what? She asks you out and rejects you. Say she's with somebody. She asks you out and rejects you. Does that mean you're never going to date her? Does that mean she hates you and sees you as some creep loser? No, if you just do it directly, swiftly, and well, she's going to think very positively of you. She might suddenly be very attracted to you. I've had women where either they're in a relationship or they're fresh out of a relationship where they've literally rejected me. I've had women say, I can't right now, but this is definitely not a no. Here's my number. We can go out in the future. Now that was a woman who, we knew each other a little bit. You're going to have those kinds of interactions. And there's times where women will be with somebody and they'll still go out with you. Cheating happens in the world, man. Now, that's probably not somebody you want to start a committed relationship with, because they're literally in a committed relationship with somebody else. That's a disastrous idea. But heck, go for it. Especially if you're struggling with dating, if you've not had much of a dating life. Yeah, that's kind of gnarly, but at least it's some experience. Get some experience under your belt. At least learn how to be good in bed, if nothing else. At least take it as an opportunity to get better at talking to women. It's not like there's no lesson to be learned. You might learn a lot about women and a lot about yourself, even in that scenario. And yeah, even if she's in a committed relationship and she's not going to go out with you or anything, she still might give you her number. She might literally reject you. Oh, sorry, I have a boyfriend. If you're smooth, you can still get the number. You still say, well, hey, can I get your number if things don't work out? You might not get the number, but you might get the number. Or maybe it's 3 years down the road, you run into each other at the county fair, and she recognizes you, like, oh hey, you're so and so. Yeah, you're I don't know, Brittany from Starbucks. Yeah, how are things? Blah blah blah. And boom, all of a sudden you're dating. All of a sudden, because now she's single, and boom, you're in. Crap like that happens all the time, man. All the time. How do you think men and women have these dating rosters? How do you think they have people where that's how it kind of exists, man? That's how these things form. This idea that like anytime you ask out a woman, it's going to be this absurdly negative thing where she guaranteed is going to think you're a creep. No, even most times when you get rejected, she's not going to think you're a creep. She's probably going to have some sort of nice thoughts about you. You probably made her day. Think about that. Genuinely think about that. Alright, this woman, she's doing nothing. She gets asked out. That probably makes her feel good. And that could be the only thing that makes her feel good that day. Most times, you probably made her day. Flat out. So how could that possibly not be good in her mind? Not be like a good thing that happened? She probably bragged to her friends. Even if you ain't attractive. Like, even if you're not an attractive guy. She's probably like, oh yeah. And women do that. I've literally encountered it. I've literally seen it. Like, how do people just not watch anything with women? Like, what are these men doing where they haven't, like, encountered any sort of reality TV? Any sort of just... do they not even encounter women in their real life? Even in proximity? I've been in the cafeteria in like high school, college, where literally chicks just talk about how they like got asked out the other day. And it's always in a positive way. It is super rare that it's ever in a negative way. I can think of a couple of times. Like one time stands out where a woman told me about a time she got asked out by a guy and it was specifically negative. And it wasn't even like that negative of an interaction. It was, so there's this guy that we, like I grew up with this girl, and another guy that we grew up with asked her out. And she was telling me this and joked around about it. I told him, hey, we grew up together. And I laughed because it's kind of funny that this guy would think he stands a chance with this woman because this woman is quite attractive. And this guy is very not attractive, very creepy guy. Like, this guy is a known entity. He's locked up for his absurd creepiness. He's the biggest creep imaginable. A guy who's literally in prison, who's going to be in prison for years, for like another decade, for the level of creepiness, like actually harming women, literally harassing, doing horrific stuff. Even then, this woman telling me that this guy asked her out and her rejecting her, and her and I having a quick chuckle, it probably made her feel good. Now, this was like way before. This was years and years before this guy got charged with these crimes, and this before it was known that he did this stuff. It was clear to anyone he was creepy. The guy would post on Facebook pictures where he's wearing a fedora. This guy was bonkers, noticeably creepy. But it wasn't to like an insano level that it would be uncovered that it actually was. This guy probably through social media asked out this woman. And we had a chuckle, because it's funny, because the guy, he's a neckbeard posting in a fedora, posting all kinds of like anime pictures. Like, the guy was just not it, right? Bringing nothing to the table. This girl's way out of his league. And it's kind of funny. Even the guy, she didn't go on about the guy being a creep. What was funny about it was she knew the guy was a creep. I knew the guy was a creep. She even told the story of a creepy thing the guy had maybe done. She had heard that the guy had maybe done this creepy thing, but she didn't approach it like, oh, this guy's the biggest creep on the planet and this is like crazy. It was just, oh, well, we've both known each other for most of our lives and we've known this guy for most of our lives and he might have done, like, I heard he did this creepy thing. All right. It wasn't even like a huge deal. It was just interesting, right? Now, it turns out down the road, he ended up going to prison for some pretty crazy stuff. So this rumor was probably true. But even then, even a creepy bastard asking this woman out who's way out of his league, who rejected him, who she had heard a rumor about him doing something real gross. Even then, it wasn't like like literally it was a minute worth of conversation, a quick chuckle, and then on to the next topic. So meaningless. It's not her telling me this just butchered my perception of the guy. I already knew the guy was a bit creepy and probably had very little success with women. That stuff's obvious anyway. Like these guys out here, this guy who's at this Barnes and Noble Starbucks, people probably can tell that you don't get a lot of women. You probably want to change that about yourself. Your lack of confidence, this obsession you have in your mind that you're thinking about all this stuff. You're worried about, am I good looking enough? Am I bothering her? Is she going to think I'm a creep? Blah, 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 blah. This and that. You're reeking of that lack of confidence. The fact that this is going through your mind and you're shaking and you're scared, that's really bad, man. Like everyone's picking up on this. So how you change that is through experience. Ask women out. And maybe you really this sounds like you don't even know this woman. So I feel like you should just ask her out because it's inconsequential anyway. Like you don't know very much about her besides she's cute and she has tattoos and works at Starbucks. So it's really of no consequence. But even if you want to get better, ask other women out. Ask other women out at the Barnes and Noble. Ask other women out wherever, the grocery store. Build your confidence. The whole point of this here is you're not going to be great at something the first time. And especially if it's a woman that you have known a long time, you know a lot about, and you feel like there's a lot of stakes when you ask her out, when it means the world to you. First of all, there's plenty of fish in the sea, so you need to get of the attitude that there's an 80% chance you're getting rejected no matter what, so this probably ain't going to go well, so it shouldn't really mean all that much to you. But even if it does, start asking other women out. Build up to asking out the woman that you really, really like. Get better at asking women out, and then ask women out. It's really not complicated, but I feel like so many guys out here, so many guys in these comments, right? Like writing all these comments. I don't even know how many there are on this video, but it's all kind of in the same vein. That it's so hard to ask out women, woe is me, excuse. There's 34,000, almost 35,000 comments on this video, mostly all saying the same thing about how women, it's impossible to approach women. I approached a woman 8 years ago and I'll never do it again. That's a lot. That's a ton of people. That is a heck load of people that freaking don't get it, that they're just lost in the sauce. They think women should be approaching them, that they should be approaching women and have a 90% success rate, which no man on the planet has or even could have. I guarantee you could be Brad freaking Pitt, maybe has a 25% chance success rate. He maybe gets rejected 75% of the time. This is a rich, ridiculously attractive man, a guy with status and fame and clout and everything, the best, the pinnacle of man. Let's say 75% chance getting rejected. So why are you obsessing about getting rejected once or twice or even 100 times? Think about it for a second. Think about the fact that in your life, your dating life, asking women out, you need to start asking women out to get good at asking women out. So take the first 25 as just a pointless learning experiment, as your first day of training on the job. You're not expected to be good. It's of no consequence if you're good or not. You're just learning the basics, where things even go. So 25 are just a wash. Do that and then ask out 100 women. If you can do that, if you can ask out 125 women, I'll set the bar far lower than 300. 125 women. There's no way you ask out 125 women and get rejected every time. There's no way. Now mathematically it could happen, but the only way that it can happen is if you learn nothing, right? We're pretty much calling off the first 25 as just being a learning experience. It's just about learning. Now it's all just about learning, but the first 25 in particular, just write them off as being all right, I'm almost certainly getting rejected. That's what's happening. But I'm going to learn throughout these 25 rejections. And then I'm going to go for the first attempt of a first real 100 ask outs. And most of those are going to be rejections. But if you learn anything throughout that process, you're going to get yeses. You're going to get phone numbers. You're going to get a date. You're going to get what you want. Nothing in life is free, and nothing in life comes without effort, without sacrifice. And get away from these other freaks who are telling you there's a 0% chance that you'll ever have a good conversation with a woman. These people are women-hating, lunatic losers who want to swim in a cesspool of loserdom. They want to say, hey, join my cesspool of loserdom. It's fun in here. It's like a lazy river of just degenerate losers. That's what the red pill community ultimately boils down to. A lazy river gunk of just losers floating in gunk, stroking each other's very pathetic egos.
Pocket sand.
Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. Spread their racks on